Welcome everyone to the return episode of the Wrestling Report. When planning this episode, we were planning an exciting and energetic return, but we did not imagine we'd be starting our show off like this. Last week, on Saturday, December 26, 2020, the wrestling world turned upside down with the sudden and unexpected passing of Jon Huber, known as Mr. Brody Lee and Luke Harper. We would like to send our condolences to Huber's family, friends, and fans. We would like to take a few minutes and pay our tribute to Mr. Jon Huber. Hello everyone and welcome to the first edition of the revamped Wrestling Reports. We are starting fresh with 2021 here. During our episodes we will be reviewing what has happened during the week and announce matches for the following week. Here on the Wrestling Report we talk about WWE, Impact Wrestling, and Truly Independent Wrestling, a local independent promotion. Today we will talk about upcoming pay-per-views, what happened this past Friday on SmackDown and 205 Live, also from the last TIW show, and what will be happening in the first full week of 2021. Let's talk about the New Year's Day edition of SmackDown. Yesterday, the show started off with Paul Heyman, Jey Uso, and the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Roman went on to talk about how his 2020 went, and talked about Jey Uso and how much he has risen since acknowledging Reigns as the tribal chief. Roman was then interrupted by Kevin Owens. Kevin stated that Roman's family has failed because he was standing there. They failed to take Kevin out. Kevin then went on to state that he is here to fight Jay, and once he beats Jay, their family will have nothing to celebrate. The first match of the night was the new Intercontinental Champion Big E facing the 2019 King of the Ring winner Baron Corbin, accompanied by the Knights of the Lone Wolf, Wesley Blake, and Steve Cutler. The former Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn was on commentary with Corey Graves and Michael Cole. With a heavy back-and-forth match, Big E hit the big ending on Corbin. However, just as Big E was going for the pinfall, Sami Zayn jumped from commentary and attacked Big E, giving him the victory by disqualification. Sami and the Knights of the Lone Wolf attacked Big E in a 3-on-1 assault. Apollo Crews then came out and saved Big E from the 3-on-1 assault. We came back from commercial break, and Adam Pearce sanctioned a tag team match as Big E teamed with Apollo Crews to face King Corbin, Sami Zayn. After Sami Zayn kept telling the Knights of the Lone Wolf to listen to him and almost hitting Corbin, the Knights of the Lone Wolf and King Corbin left ringside. Apollo then hit Sami with a spinning sit-out powerbomb to gain the pinfall victory for himself and Big E. We went backstage and there was an interview with Big E, and Big E announced that next week he would be issuing an open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Shortly thereafter, Apollo Crews said that he will face Big E next week for the Intercontinental Championship. Back in the ring, the Riot Squad faced Natalya and Tamina with Billie Kay at ringside. Then, mid-match, Billie Kay randomly switched to helping the Riot Squad. Ruby Riott was soon to kick her out, and then Billie was rooting on Tamina. However, Billie did distract Tamina, which allowed Liv Morgan to roll up Tamina to get the win. Then, as Ruby and Liv were walking to the back, Billie Kay started celebrating with them. However, Ruby and Liv Morgan had none of it and just walked away from Billie Kay. Next was another women's tag team match as the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks came out and teamed with Bianca Belair to face the team of Bayley and Carmella. This was a rematch from the week previous when Asuka and Charlotte Flair defended their women's tag team championships against both of these teams. After a hard-fought match between the two teams, Reggie distracted Banks and allowed Carmella to defeat the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. Next, a video was shown of Sonya Deville walking through the backstage and declaring her return to SmackDown since SummerSlam. Next, the Street Profits came out and held the Street Profits New Year's predictions. As they were talking about their predictions, they were attacked from behind by Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. They took out Angelo Dawkins and focused their attack on Montez Ford, and possibly injured Montez Ford's leg with the steel chair. Next was Daniel Bryan and Otis, with Chad Gable at ringside facing Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. Last week, Daniel Bryan announced that he would be entering the men's Royal Rumble match. Otis and Gable helped train Daniel Bryan, but Nakamura and Cesaro interrupted by saying Bryan will never win the Royal Rumble match. At the end of the match, Daniel Bryan put the yes lock on Shinsuke Nakamura and got the submission victory for himself and Otis. Next was the main event as Kevin Owens faced Jey Uso. Kevin Owens kept making the statement that Jey is going to pay, but what's worse is that it isn't his fault. We came back from commercial break and Kevin superkicked Jey and defeated him by pinfall in a quick match. After the match ended, Kevin stunned Jey trying to get Roman's attention. Kevin Owens then handcuffed Jey Uso to the top rope and superkicked Uso again, and started attacking the ligaments of Uso. As Roman still wasn't coming out, Owens kept his relentless assault on Uso. Kevin then grabbed the key to the handcuffs, unlocked the cuffs, and cuffed both hands of Jey. Then Uso went up the ramp to ringside and set up a table and put Uso on it, and climbed to the top where the LED boards for the fans are, and Reigns speared Owens out of nowhere. The cousins, Uso and Reigns, then both went on a vicious assault on Owens with the steel chair and slammed Owens off the LED boards and sent Owens flying through two tables to end the show. Next week on SmackDown, Big E will defend his Intercontinental Championship against former United States Champion Apollo Crews, as well as the Street Profits Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins will defend their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Then it was time for 205 Live. To start off the show, we had two young upstarts of Jake Atlas taking on Monsoor. The match was a heavy back-and-forth fought contest, until Monsoor was able to pick up the victory and keep his undefeated streak alive against Jake Atlas. Next was a six-man tag team match as Kurt Stallion and Everrise took on Ari Daivari and the Singh brothers. This was a mainstay cruiserweight versus the new cruiserweights, as Ari Daivari and the Singh brothers have been in 205 Live since its inception. The Singh brothers and Ari Daivari put up a tough fight against Everrise and Kurt Stallion. However, they were not able to get the win, as Kurt Stallion and Everrise won the six-man tag to end 205 Live. Next week, on the first Raw of 2021, WWE is hosting Raw Legends Night. This is similar to Raw Reunion in 2019. Here are the announced legends appearing at the show. Our first legend is the immortal Hulk Hogan, WWE Hall of Famer Torrie Wilson, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Glamazon Beth Phoenix, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, the world's largest athlete The Big Show, WWE Hall of Famer Jacqueline, two-time WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter, the Native American Tatanka, Double J Jeff Jarrett, Mickie James, the Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart, Caribbean Ghoul Carlito, Ivory, the Boogeyman, IRS Arwen R. Shyster, Alicia Fox, WWE Hall of Famer Hillbilly Jim, Melina, and Fabulous Freebird member Michael P.S. Hayes. These legends and Hall of Famers will be making appearances during the live show this Monday night. Also, on Raw Legends Night, Drew McIntyre will defend his WWE Championship against Keith Lee, who defeated Sheamus last week to become #1 contender. Also next week, NXT presents New Year's Evil, the first episode of 2021 live on January 6th. This event will be hosted by the eerie Dexter Lumis. At this event, Finn Balor will be defending his NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly in a rematch from NXT TakeOver 31 in October. As well as Karrion Kross will be facing the Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest. And on the December 23rd episode of NXT, Dexter Lumis announced that Rhea Ripley will face Raquel Gonzalez in a last woman standing match. Also in a fight pit, Tommaso Ciampa will face Timothy Thatcher. And making his return to NXT along with Lince Dorado, Raw's Grand Metalik will challenge Santos Escobar for the Cruiserweight Championship as well. Now, New Year's Evil is this Wednesday. But next Wednesday, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic returns. 8 tag teams will go head-to-head in a tournament to determine the new challengers to the NXT Tag Team Champions, which are currently held by Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. During last week's episode of NXT, after the Undisputed Era won the NXT Tag Team of the Year award, Adam Cole announced that himself and Roderick Strong would be representing the Undisputed Era in the Dusty Cup. The rest of these teams and brackets will be determined this Wednesday night on New Year's Evil. Sunday, January 31st, the first pay-per-view of the year. It is the Royal Rumble. However, no matches have been named to take place at the Rumble, but the Raw's Nia Jax has announced she will enter the Women's Royal Rumble. Also for the Men's Royal Rumble match, Raw's United States Champion Bobby Lashley and SmackDown's Daniel Bryan announced they will compete in the Rumble. Let's move to the independents with truly independent wrestling. Unfortunately, due to the current worldwide pandemic, independent wrestling shows have been put on a halt. However, TIW came back on Christmas Day with TIW Clash at Christmas 5. TIW General Manager The Wolf, CJ Scott, started off the show welcoming everyone watching at home to the return of TIW. Scott was quickly interrupted by Dirty Ryan Duke. Ryan Duke went on to talk about how wrestling hasn't been on, but how he was quickly interrupted by High Voltage Omar. Omar and Duke then faced off in a no disqualification match. Omar won this match by submission. A video package was shown from earlier in the day when Benjamin Blackwell and Lance Madewell, known as Made in Black, attacked Corbin Dane, who they were supposed to face in a tag team match. Then they went back to the show, and Made in Black came out and addressed the fans, saying it's been a year since they've been targeting the TIW Tag Team Champions, the Stepdads, and they've yet to receive a championship match. CJ Scott then came out and announced that this tag team match will be a number one contenders match for the Tiw Tag Team Championships. With Corbin Dane being attacked, Danny Adam had to find a new partner. He turned to the first ever TIW Berkshire champion, Redneck Randy Walker. After a grueling match, Made in Black did win this and became number one contenders, and made their intentions known that they will face the Stepdads over a year of frustration. The TIW Berkshire Championship was up next as Samuel Bolt defended against Guy Sadlowski. Guy Sadlowski showed valuable effort and rolled Samuel up and became the new Berkshire champion, ending Samuel's 559-day reign as TIW Berkshire champion. Samuel then came back out with the Vakula as the Assembly of Sin to take on Sean Miller and Corey Bush of the Dillon Street Boys. Unlike his last match, Samuel walked out as a winner alongside Vakula. The next match was for the TIW Tag Team Championships, when the Stepdads defended against the unlikely duo of Scotty Arrow and Damon Ravage. The Stepdads walked out and continued their dominant reign as TIW Tag Team Champions. Just as they were heading to the backstage area, Made in Black came out and challenged them to a match right then and there for the TIW Tag Team titles. The Wolf, CJ Scott, came out and clarified that at the next show they would be getting their title match. Radley Belmont of the Stepdads agreed to the match with a possible knee injury to start. Benjamin immediately attacked Radley, then while the referee was distracted by Lance and Wade Kruger on the outside, Blackwell hit Belmont with a scepter and put Belmont in a grueling knee submission. Radley tapped and Made in Black became the new TIW Tag Team Champions, ending the Stepdads' 615-day reign as TIW Tag Team Champions. In the main event, Just in Case faced Jimmy Limits in a grueling match for the TIW Championship. After many close pinfalls, Just in Case superkicked Limits and won the TIW Championship for the first time, ending Jimmy Limits' almost 400-day reign as TIW Champion. Now let's move to Impact Wrestling. This coming Tuesday on Impact's first show of the new year, Sami Callihan will take on Eddie Edwards, as well as Havoc and Nevaeh, Jordan Grace, and the legendary Jazz in a semifinals match to determine the inaugural Impact Knockout Tag Team Champions. Next Saturday, January 9th, exclusively on Impact Plus, Impact Wrestling presents Genesis, where Mr. Impact Wrestling Moose will face Willie Mack in an I Quit match. Then on Saturday, January 16th, Impact Wrestling pay-per-view Hard to Kill takes place as AEW World Champion Kenny Omega teams with Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions The Good Brothers to face Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in for our episode of the Wrestling Report. We will be back next Saturday to talk about what has happened this coming week and what will be happening the following week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, and we'll see you next Saturday.